I'm judging an apple pie making contest, so I'm actually going to make an apple pie that we can dissect and analyze. I'm making a double recipe of the pie dough, one for my apple pie that we can evaluate, and the second for my tourtière, the main course. Got a teaspoon of salt. And for my purposes for the apple pie and the tourtière, I want to use a combination of vegetable shortening and cold unsalted butter. A cup of each for the double recipe. I use the butter for flavor and for tenderness. And I use the vegetable shortening because it makes for a more waterproof crust. Both the apple pie and the tourtière filling will be wet. So I've got a good balance of both. And I'll add this ice cold water a little bit at a time, watching as it gets incorporated. Great! The dough is quite pliable now, but I'll pop it in the fridge for a little bit to chill, so the butter will set and it'll be easy to roll. I'll wrap each disc up. So each disc is a bottom or a top to the apple pie or the tourtière, and this should give the judges a good indication of what a pie crust should be. Spy apples and Spartans are really tangy, and they're also good for pies because they hold up their shape when they bake. There's a lot of things to evaluate in an apple pie. The tenderness and the flakiness of the crust, the style of the presentation of the pie, the choice of apples. I used 2 types of sugar in my apple pie filling. 3/4 of a cup of white sugar and 1/2 cup of light brown sugar. Brown sugar, I find, adds a hint of caramel or toffee flavor to the pie. Add a little lemon zest. It'd be interesting to see, out of over 50 pies, what kind of flavor additions and variations we get. If it's sweetened with maple syrup or honey, or if there's orange, or I bet cranberries would be nice. For spices, a teaspoon of cinnamon and a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. I want to keep the flavorings in my apple pie relatively simple, because I want the apples to be the star. 2 tablespoons of flour that will cook into the juices that come out of the apples so that it holds together. This is the same pie plate that the contestants are using. I do like a glass pie plate for an apple or other fruit pies. And there, my dough's nice and chilled. Well, I'm sure the judges will enjoy this pie, but I have to make sure they don't eat too much. We have all the others to taste. This is just shy of a 1/4 inch thick. It's folded in half. It's easy to lift and handle. Just about a tablespoon of butter dotted on top. This makes it a little bit richer and thickens it a bit too. Before I put this on top of the pie, I want to cut a hole so the steam from the cooking apples can escape. I'm going to create a classic style, just with a hole in the center. So center that hole. And then with a pair of scissors, I'm going to trim the dough to just about 1 inch over the pie crust. So I've got something to tuck under. My mom makes some wicked apple pies, and she makes a peach pie like no one else. I've tucked the top crust under the bottom one, and now I'm going to create a pattern, cinching the edges. This seals the fruit into the pie. I like to bake my pies on a baking tray in case excess juices from all these apples cook and spill out. And the last thing for me to do is to make a little egg wash to add shine to the top of the pie. Just a little sprinkle of sugar makes that top crust a little crunchy. Just a little sprinkle of cinnamon, because that's what my mom used to do. And I'd say that's a fine looking apple pie. I've preheated the oven to 400 degrees and I'll let the pie cook for 10 minutes. Then I'll turn the oven down to 375, and it takes a good 40 minutes to really cook the pie through. If the crust starts to brown on the outside, I just put a little tin foil around the edges. How do you like them apples?